Hello and welcome to the Elevate podcast. I'm your host, Patricia Nowakowski. I am a salon owner, educator, mindset, and leadership coach that helps salon owners go from overwhelmed and burnt out to motivated and empowered. It is my mission to help you systemize your business, generate more profit, and create a career that you are absolutely in love with. Join us every week to learn about the small shifts you can make to elevate your business regarding mindset, marketing, social media, business systems, and so much more. Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of the Elevate podcast. On today's episode, I'm going to share my $50,000 mistake. So as we go through business, I think that the biggest F-ups that happen to you inside of what you do is most definitely the most impactful and greatest learning lessons. You know, I always talk to people, and when it comes to legal and financial advice, I highly recommend spending the money to just have somebody who knows the law, knows what they're doing to push you through the questions that you have and to give you the proper advice needed in order to make the right legal decisions in your business. I just want to also say that, you know, I'm obsessed with these Facebook groups. I know I've been talking about this, I would say every podcast for the last the 6 episodes, because they're just so fascinating to me. And just like I said, entertaining. And what I notice in these Facebook groups is there's a lot of people asking legal advice and asking financial advice in a Facebook group. And that is not the place for it. Again, if you're going to have a business, you need to budget for a lawyer and you need to budget for an accountant and a financial advisor. These are non-negotiables for your business. One wrong move can dismantle and cripple every single thing that you've worked so hard to build inside of your business by one simple mistake. I can honestly say I'm sharing this from experience. I've made a lot of mistakes through legal contracts. I made a mistake, this $50,000 mistake that I'm going to share with you today, because I didn't really do the research. I didn't read the fine print, and I didn't ask the proper person to help guide me through the decision-making process when it comes to making these decisions in your business. So I have learned my lesson the hard way. So I'm going to share my story with you today about a $50,000 mistake I made in my business. Mistake is kind of a harsh word because I don't regret it in one sense, because I did grow my business, but I wish I would have been more informed and more educated before I actually made the decision. If you've been feeling overwhelmed and overworked from owning your salon, you're not alone. If you're like many salon owners, you wanted to build a salon that makes you feel fulfilled, passionate, and something that brings you freedom and flexibility into your life. But you ended up being exhausted from taking on all your business tasks alone. It doesn't have to be this way. It's time for change. The Elevated Salon Owner Collective will help you do just that. You'll automate your salon, implement solid business systems, transform your salon culture, and take charge of your online presence to regain freedom back into your business. I'd love for you to experience the freedom and fulfillment that you've desired when you decided to create your business. To learn more, visit opulentbeautypro.com/elevate or click the link in the show notes. So as you all know, in 2020, COVID happened. And we shut down. And at this time, there was a lot of financial relief given to small business owners. I was very fortunate to get 2 PPP loans. And I also was approved for a $50,000 SBA loan, which I did end up taking. I talked briefly about it with my accountant, and she recommended it because the loan interest rate was 3.75, which is what we thought. So I took the loan. I held on to it for a little while. I thought about, holding on to it just in case we shut down again. I also thought about, utilizing it to expand my business. I thought about giving it back. I sat on it for a little bit. As we pushed through the pandemic and as we pushed through 2020, which was a really uncertain time for most of us, we started to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I started to see that my business was secure and safe, and that I was still continuing to grow. Even though we were shut down in 2020, I grew financially in revenue by a ton, which I've been very fortunate to just like have the mindset and the capability to generate revenue. Like if I need to go into hustle mode, I can go into hustle mode. It's not my favorite, but it's something that I definitely have a skill to do. So we're in 2020, we're pushing into 2021. I feel secure. I still have this 50 grand sitting in the bank. And at this time during 2020, I was a hybrid salon. So I had renters in my business and I also had commission stylist. Now, I made the decision to utilize this $50,000 to expand my business. I wanted to move the renters out because I wanted to be fully commission. And we had an opportunity to take over more space in my building to expand our salon suites. With the $50,000, I added 6 more salon suites to my business, 3 immediately, and then 3 a little bit further down. Now, with this loan, the loan payment was deferred, which was really great because it gave me the opportunity to catch up on anything I needed to catch up on in the business, and it gave me some breathing room. Now, I'm the type of person, I do not like debt. I've never had to take out a loan to open my business. I did everything cash. And I just am a person who I've never missed payroll on my team. Like I stay on top of my shit because I think that's really important. And it's just something that I've done with every single thing in my life. My mom always tells the story when I was a bartender, I would have little envelopes in my bedroom because I lived at home at this time. And they would just be like stuffed full of cash. And each envelope would have like bills, savings, shopping. I've just always been pretty financially organized. So even though the loan was deferred, it was $50,000, 30-year term. I was still making the monthly payments of $250 a month because that's just who I am as a person. And again, I used this loan to grow my business, which I am so glad I did. I'm so glad I expanded my salon suites. My salon suites have a 35% profit margin. So that's pretty good. I mean, granted, it's not a huge amount of revenue, but it's definitely revenue that has saved my business in times of need. And when things have been slow, like that cash flow coming in has always been so helpful. So I'm grateful with the way that I actually utilized the loan. What I'm not grateful for is I didn't read the fine print. So I paid the minimum payment, even though the loan was deferred, for $250. And then when my accountant went to go do my taxes, she's like, hey, what's going on with this loan? You've been paying it for the whole year and none of your principal has gone down. And I was like, well, that's weird. Maybe because it's deferred. Like I didn't really think anything of it. Then another 6 months goes by. She's like, listen, you need to look into this loan. There's something going on. You still haven't paid down any principal. So I'm like, what the heck is going on? I'm like, it's 3.75. Like, I don't understand like what's happening here. I had my manager call because she does all the things for me. And come to find out, it is not a 3.75% interest rate for the term of the loan. It's a 3.75 daily accrual rate for the loan. So every single day, I was accruing interest of 3.75% of the total amount of the loan. Yeah, that's a lot. I was like, holy shit, that was so misleading. The COVID relief fund really wasn't the COVID relief fund. The COVID relief fund was in my opinion, it was a money grab. It was a money grab from small business owners who were in a hard spot. And honestly, like it was positioned in a way that it was a very low interest rate. In reality, it is not. So I was like, holy shit. I'm like, this is kind of scary. Like I didn't make this a priority. I would have probably given the money back if I would have known that that was the term, like the interest term of the loan. I would not have kept the money. Am I glad that I expanded my salon suites? Absolutely. 100% hands down. Do I feel guilty about the way I spent the money? No. I used it to grow my business. I used it, in a way that I feel was financially smart. What was not financially smart was not doing the research and digging into the fine print of the loan and assuming that it was exactly what it said it was or the way it was positioned. So for the first year, I paid $250 a month. That went straight to the interest. No principal was marked down. Then the following 6 months, same thing. And then I started increasing my payments. I paid $10,000 in interest so far on this loan. That's insane. I've paid $10,000 in interest. So once this was brought to my attention by my accountant, because she's like, hey, you really need to look into this. This is not good. Like, I don't know what you signed. I don't know what's happening here, but you are not paying down the principal. And this is a huge financial problem and a huge financial risk for you. So something that I didn't think was going to be a priority to pay off, that I had time to pay off, has now shifted into something that I need to pay off immediately. Which kind of sucks, right? Because that's money that's coming out of my profit margin. That's money that's coming out of the money that I can financially take home as a business owner. And now I'm rushing to pay off this loan that I thought had a very low interest rate and that I had time to pay off. Now, this was a huge lesson learned. I will never take out a loan without having a lawyer look it over and without having my accountant or my financial advisor go over the contract with me. 100% hands down. Hardest lesson learned. We'll never do that again. I expanded my business. At that time, I was really pushed to always focus on grow. And, maybe I probably would have given the loan back and focused on refining instead of just like focusing on trying to grow as fast as I can, right? Everything happens for a reason. I've now made that my focus. I've paid off quite a bit of it in the last 2 years. I would say I'm pretty close to halfway done, even though I've paid so much in interest that it makes me want to throw up. But yeah, I just, it was a really hard lesson I had to learn. And I will never do that again. And now every time I see people asking questions about SBA loans or asking questions that should not be answered in a Facebook group, I'm really adamant about just telling people that they need to talk to a lawyer and they need to talk to their accountant. Because you just never know. And we aren't accountants. We're not lawyers. We don't know things. Sometimes we look over the fine print. Sometimes we don't understand the fine print. And that's why we have to utilize the people that are a resource for us to really make sure that we're making smart decisions in our business. So, SBA loan, COVID relief fund, a scam. It was a scam. For me anyways, I think it was a total scam and I think it was totally taking advantage of people in a hard place. But businesses and companies and corporations are there to make money. And it is your job as a business owner to be financially smart and prepared and to utilize the resources to make the right decisions in your business. So, kudos to my $50,000 mistake and the lesson that I learned from this painful decision. All right. I hope today's episode was beneficial for you. If you know somebody who is getting ready to open their salon, they're thinking about utilizing financial resources like loans, the SBA loans, please send them this podcast and please advise them to talk to a lawyer, have a lawyer look over all of your contracts and talk to a financial advisor so you can really get an idea of what the right decision for you in your business is and so that you can really understand what your return on investment is, right? It's not necessarily that I made a bad decision. It's just that my ROI looks really different now. it looks so different than what it had looked like with the 3.75 interest rate of the total duration of the loan compared to a 3.75 daily accrual rate with this loan. If you like today's podcast, please subscribe, please leave us a review, and share this episode with your salon owner bestie. And I will be speaking to you next week. Thanks for tuning in to the Elevate podcast. If you loved this episode, it would mean the world to me if you would leave a review on Apple Podcast or wherever you listen. The Elevate podcast is hosted by me, Patricia Nowakowski, and is produced by Opulent Beauty Pro. To receive my free business guides, visit opulentbeautypro.com/free or click the link in the show notes. You can find me on Instagram at Opulent Beauty Pro or at Patricia_Nowakowski_OBS. If you love this show, please consider subscribing, and we will see you next week.